Please may I call the next witness?
People call Matthew Nurse.
Heads up, there's a holiday next week, and some days that we're going to be dark next week. The holiday is Lincoln's birthday on the 12th. We'll be dark on Thursday and Friday. Monday is President's Day. What a great job. That's also a holiday.
What about Wednesday, Lauren?
The 12th. You mean this Wednesday? Yeah, that's a holiday.
You could please face me and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly state that the testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. Please have a seat in the witness stand. Adjust the microphone so we can hear you. And for the record, say and spell your first and last name, please.
Matthew Nurse, M-A-T-H-E-W-N-U-R-S-E.
Microphone, please, a little louder. Proceed, please.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Nurse.
Good morning.
I'm going to ask you a few questions about the year 2017, but before I get there, what do you do for a living now?
I'm an innovation engineer at Nike.
What does that mean?
I work for NXT Footwear Department that create future footwear product coming out for the future.
All right. Now, back in 2017, that time frame, did you live in Los Angeles?
Yes.
Okay, what did you do for employment back during that time frame?
I worked at LA Fitness.
And is that the LA Fitness in Woodland Hills?
Correct.
What did you do there?
I was a personal trainer.
Okay. And I think a personal trainer might be self-explanatory, but what specifically did you do as a personal trainer?
Train people to get better physically and get them in shape if they wanted to.
So do you have individual clients then at LA Fitness?
Yeah, it was a one-on-one training type.
And how long have you been working there as of, let's go with January of 2017, how long have you been working there?
4 years.
Now, the defendant sitting in court over here with the long dark hair, the black suit next to the gentleman in the gray suit, do you recognize her?
Yes.
How do you recognize her?
She was one of my clients.
And how do you know her? What name do you know her by?
Monica
Do you know her last name?
Sementilli.
Was she what? You said she was one of your clients. When did she join the gym, if you know?
I think it was 2 years after I started.
Okay, so do you know what year that would be?
17, 16, maybe 14, 15, 2015 or 14.
Okay, somewhere in that time frame, she joined the gym. And did you immediately become her trainer?
Yes, I believe so.
And what did that involve as far as, did you have individual training sessions with her in LA Fitness?
Yeah, so once you become a member of LA Fitness, they put you through a process and give you an option to sign up with a personal trainer. And then I became her trainer. It was a one-on-one, and I think the contract was for a year. It was 6 months or a year.
How long then would you meet with her, like during a week? Was it once a week, twice a week?
I think it was once a week.
Okay, so once a week she would come to the gym, you would train her. And during that time, did you start building a friendship or a relationship with her?
Yes.
Okay. Now, during that time frame then, we're just talking about that first contract. And you believe it was, did you say 6 months or a year?
Yes.
Do you know which it was?
It might have been 6 months.
Okay. That first 6 months that you're training her, did you start talking to her about personal things?
Yes.
Did she talk to you at all about her family or her home life?
Yes.
And what did she tell you?
She would talk about her kids, and then she told me she was unhappy in her marriage.
Do you recall when that happened? And again, we're in this first 6 months time frame. Are we still in 2015, or have we moved on to the next year?
Maybe moved on.
Okay,
I
so
can't
around
recall.
sometime in 2016?
Yes.
Do you know, if you recall, how that conversation came up?
I think she said she was unhappy and that she thought he was cheating on her.
Did she say anything else that you remember?
Not that I recall.
Did that conversation then continue? I'm unhappy in my marriage. She told you that. Did she ever talk about it again during that first 6 months?
Maybe again.
Okay.
I can't recall.
You think maybe, but you don't recall?
Yeah.
Okay. Was your impression then that, based on her words, she wasn't in a happy marriage?
Yes.
Objection, that calls for conclusion is finding of fact.
It's overruled. It's based on this witness's subsequent conduct.
Now, you said you talked about her kids, too. What did she tell you about her kids?
She just told me about her two daughters, both in high school.
Okay. Did she seem like she did things with her daughters and was a good mom to you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, as far as the marriage, did you give her any advice on her marriage when she told you that she was in an unhappy marriage?
I asked her, when she told me she was unhappy, I said, why don't you just get a divorce?
And what did she say to you?
Why throw away 20 years?
Did you ask her anything further about that?
No.
Did you ever talk to her again about getting a divorce or leaving her husband?
No.
Now, during this first 6 months, did she ever show any interest in you romantically?
Yes.
How so? Can you explain how that occurred?
I think it was a lot of flirting, and she asked me out for drinks one time.
And did you take that asking out of drinks to be a proposition to have more of an intimate relationship?
Yes.
Did you go out?
I'm going to object, Your Honor. That calls for conclusion is speculative.
Again, the way to show this witness's subsequent conduct is overruled.
When she asked you out for drinks, was this the time frame when you were actually, at that time, training her in the gym?
Yes.
And the conversation out for drinks, were you actually, like, physically doing a training session at that time, if you remember?
I can't remember if it was training her or not.
Okay, so that first 6 months, did you have any interaction with the defendant other than just training her in the gym?
No.
So, in other words, did you ever go sit off to the side and have coffee together and talk about life, or was it strictly just training sessions?
Strictly training.
So during that time, she asked you out for drinks.
Yeah.
And did you go?
No.
Why didn't you go?
I wasn't interested.
Did you tell her you weren't interested?
I told her no.
Okay, did you expand on that or say any reason why?
No.
At that time, did you have a girlfriend or were you in any form of a relationship?
I was in a relationship.
So after that 6 months, you said no to going out to drinks. Did the training sessions continue then after that 6 months?
They did.
And what happened?
Yes, they did.
What happened?
She had said she wanted to continue training, but at her house.
Was this something normal that you did, go to people's houses to train them?
No.
Did that make you feel uncomfortable at all?
Objection, that's legal.
Overruled.
No.
Okay. Did you feel like that had anything to do with wanting to spend time with you since she'd already asked you out for drinks?
Yes.
Did you agree to train her at her house?
Yes.
Did she offer to pay you money for these training sessions at her house?
Yes.
How much was that, if you recall?
I think it was 50. 50 or 45. 40 or 50 between there.
So that would entail what? A workout session at her house for how long?
40 minutes.
Council, let me interrupt. We're taking our lunch and recess now until 1:30. The evidence applies not to discuss this case either among yourselves with anyone else. Monica Sementilli, defendant, is present. All counsel are present. Jury and alters are present. Good afternoon. And Mr. Nurse, you're still under oath. You may continue.
Thank you. Mr. Nurse, where I left off, I was asking you some questions about the private training that you were going to do with the defendant. And just to reiterate, your testimony was that you were going to start providing workout sessions at her home. Is that correct? About 1 hour sessions at her home?
Yes, that's correct.
Previously marked exhibit number 9. Is that the house where you went to?
Yes.
Okay. When you were doing it, so did you in fact then start doing those sessions?
Yes.
And this would be about what time frame, if you recall? Like 2016?
Correct.
Like mid-year?
Maybe early 2016.
Okay, early. So you know that the murder occurred in January of 2017, backing up. Does that sound about right? A
Yes.
year prior to that? Is that what your thoughts
Yes.
are, somewhere in that time frame?
Yes.
Okay. How many times did you end up going to her house?
Approximately 5.
And when you went to her house, who was there?
Her daughter was there a couple times.
Do you know her daughters?
Yes.
Okay, and who are her daughters?
One was named Belle and Jessica.
Exhibit 11 up on the screen, do you recognize her?
Yes.
Is that Jessica?
That's Jessica.
And then exhibit 12, I'll put up on the screen. Do you recognize that as one of the daughters?
Yes.
Is that Isabella?
Yes.
Now, when you went to train with the defendant, did you only train her?
Yes.
And where did you train her?
Outside in the patio and in the living room area.
I'm sorry, I hit my hand. So if I'm mark is people in 55. Oh, I'm sorry, it's already been marked. I withdraw that. People's Exhibit 9 is an aerial view of the backyard. Do you recognize as the backyard area of the Sementilli house?
Yes.
When you trained the defendant in the backyard, where did you train her?
Right along the pool side, close to the house.
So this walkway right here?
Yes.
Okay. When you trained her, were her daughters ever out there with you?
No.
Were they home at the time that you saw?
Yes.
What about People's 13, her husband, Fabio? Did you ever see him home when you trained her?
No.
Out of those, what did you say, 5, 6 times you never saw him there?
No.
Did she ever tell you where he was when you were training her at the house?
No, she never told me.
Now, while you're at the house training her, did she ever have any more conversations about her husband, Fabio?
No.
Did you ever see him come to the gym where you worked?
Yes.
How many times?
I think 2.
Can you explain when you saw him and what you saw him doing there?
I was training her at the time, and I think the first time he came up, and that's when I met him. He introduced himself, and I think he was working out or doing his own workout.
Okay. Did they work out together that you saw?
No.
Now, if I may mark this people's, this time 55, and photograph of an individual female
Very well.
with the name Fariba, parentheses, Faye at the top. Do you recognize this person?
Yes.
How do you recognize that person?
Faye was also a client of mine.
So you knew her as Faye,
Yes.
and she worked out at the gym with you.
Correct.
Did you introduce her to Monica?
Yes.
Okay. And why did you do that?
Faye, I think at the time, was single and said she didn't have much friends and wanted a social life.
Okay.
So that's when
Were you already training Faye before you were training Monica?
I think I was training them both at the same time.
So you introduced them.
Yes.
Did they play in the same racquetball league then, if you know?
Yes.
Were you part of that league?
Occasionally.
So you trained and you played in the racquetball league.
Yes.
When you say occasionally, what does that mean?
I think the league was every once a week, and when I could, I would play in the league. But if I had clients, I wouldn't play.
And that included playing with the defendant and Faye?
Yes.
Let me mark as People's 56. a photo of an individual, the name Elise Blue.
Yes.
Do you recognize this person in People's 56?
Yes.
Who is that?
Elise, she played in the racquetball league. I met her a couple times from the league.
Did you train her?
No.
From your experience at the gym, then, did you see Elise, Faye, and the defendant playing racquetball, hanging out together?
Yes.
Did it appear to you that they were friends?
Yes.
One more photo for you. If I may mark as People's 57, two photos of an individual that's entitled Robert Baker, LA Fitness.
Very well.
Do you recognize that person?
Yes.
Who is that?
That's Rob Baker.
And what did you know him as? What did you call him?
Rob.
Okay, Rob. How did you know Rob?
I met Rob at the LA Fitness because I don't know if he was employed with LA Fitness, but he ran the racquetball league.
Was he already working there when you started working there 4 years prior to January of 2017?
I believe so.
Would you say that you became friends with this Rob Baker?
Yes.
Did you have his cell phone in your phone?
Yes.
Where you could text him?
Yes.
Did you ever hang out with him socially outside of the gym?
No.
What did you know to be his exact job at LA Fitness?
His exact job at LA Fitness, it was just to run the racquetball league.
And what does that mean as far as hours? Is he there most every day, or was the league on only specific days?
No objection, no foundation.
It's overruled.
Can you repeat that?
Do you know what days the racquetball league, I'll rephrase it, do you know what days the racquetball league was in effect, or what days it was run?
I don't know what exact days, but it was more, maybe 2 to 3 times a week. He would be there evening time.
Were you there every day or certain days a week?
At that time, I was there Monday, Wednesday, Friday, full day, and Tuesday and Thursday, I only worked evenings.
While you were working there, did you see Rob Baker, did you ever see him hanging around with the defendant?
Yes.
And did you ever notice anything that caught your attention between the two of them?
I did. They started coming into the gym together to play racquetball or...
So why did that catch your attention?
They would come in and work out during the day, or play racquetball during the day, and Rob would only come during the evening, so that's caught my attention.
So he was coming on hours that weren't his work hours, is that correct?
Correct.
And during those hours, did he appear to you that he came with the defendant?
Yes.
Meaning they came into the gym at the same time?
Yes.
And would they appear to leave around the same time?
I believe so.
And what time frame are we talking about here now? Again, given that the murder happened in January of 2017.
Afternoon, 1 to 4.
I'm sorry?
12 to 4.
I meant what months?
Oh, what month?
We're in 2016 at this point.
Yeah, I can't remember what months. I can't recall what months.
Okay.
Exactly.
Was it in the time frame of somewhere between 6 months before the murder, that time frame?
Maybe 4, maybe not 6.
Okay.
Maybe.
Did you ever, let's start with Mr.
Sorry,
Say it again, sir.
Maybe 4 months before.
Let's start with Rob Baker. Did you ever ask him if he was having any form of outside relationship with the defendant?
No.
Did you ever ask the defendant while you're training her if there was something going on between her and Rob Baker?
Yes.
And what did she tell you?
I asked her if there was anything going on, and she told me no, it's nothing.
Was there any more to that conversation?
No.
And this, again, is prior to the murder, is that right?
Yeah.
I want to talk about the day of the murder, January 23rd, 2017. Did you work that day?
Yes.
And were you working as a trainer then? That
Yeah.
day, same thing you testified to?
Yes.
Did you see the defendant and, well, let's start with the defendant. Did you see the defendant at the gym that day?
Yes.
Did you see Baker at the gym that day?
Yes.
Do you know what time it was?
Close to 12.
Now, back in August, exactly August 2nd of 2017, did you interview or sit down and get questioned by some LAPD detectives?
Yes.
And at that time, was it at LA Fitness?
Yes.
Were you able to pull up and kind of look back at like when they swiped cards to get in?
I wasn't. But,
Did they? Go
but
ahead.
you can.
Okay. Did the detectives then ask you about dates and times that you knew them to enter the gym on the day of the murder?
I believe so.
If I may mark as Exhibit 58, it's a still shot of an individual on the sidewalk appearing to enter LA Fitness.
So mark.
Exhibit 58, do you recognize the scene that that camera is depicting?
Front of LA Fitness?
Okay. The individual, sorry, the front of LA Fitness is, and the individual walking in, do you recognize who that is?
Yes.
Who's that?
Monica?
Okay. The process of when someone walks in, what do? How do they get accepted into the gym?
At that time, it was a key card that they swiped or checked in with.
And that was to prove you're a member?
Yes.
11:49 and 20 seconds on the timestamp. Does that appear accurate as to what time you saw Monica, the defendant, at the gym?
Yes, because I usually stop my training from 12 to 4 because it's a dead period in the gym, but I was still with a client at that time.
When you saw her come in?
Yes.
Okay. Let me mark as People's 59, an individual male entitled Robert Baker entering LA Fitness.
So mark.
People's 59 up on the screen. Is that the same vantage point that you already testified to as far as the front of LA Fitness?
Correct.
You recognize that person walking in?
Yes.
Who is that?
Rob?
Rob Baker?
Rob Baker.
And then the timestamp of 11:59:24, does that coincide with the time that you recall seeing Baker enter the gym?
Yes.
Okay. While they were in the gym, were you able to see the two of them if they were together at all?
When they came in, there's a designated area for trainers, a training area where I was in, and both of them walked right past me towards the racquetball courts.
If you remember, do you recall them carrying any rackets?
I think they had their backpacks.
Okay, so you didn't necessarily see any rackets, but they were going towards the courts?
No, they had the racket sticks out of the backpack, I believe.
And you saw them walking towards the courts. Did you see them play any racquetball?
No.
Do you know, subsequently, from your own experience and what you saw, if they played racquetball?
Well, no foundation, Your Honor, speculation.
From what you saw is overruled.
Can you repeat that?
It was kind of an amusing question. Did you ever see them at any point playing racquetball that day?
No.
Did you see the defendant's daughter, Jessica, come into the gym that day?
I did.
And did she come at the same time frame as her mom?
Yes.
What did you see her do?
She was signing up for a membership again. And I asked her, are you signing up for a membership again? And that's what she told me.
She told you she was?
Yes.
So had you known her previously to be a member of the gym?
At first, I think she had a membership. Yeah, she had a membership.
Okay. Now, you testified that you saw the defendant come in, you saw Baker come in. Did you ever see Jessica enter the gym?
Yeah, she was at the front in the gym.
Did you see her enter with anybody? Do you know how she came in?
No.
Okay. But it was the same time frame as both Baker and
Yes.
the defendant?
Yes.
Okay. That day then, did you ever observe any injuries? And again, this is January 23rd around noon. Did you ever observe any injuries as to Robert Baker?
No.
Specifically his hands. Did you ever see any injuries?
No.
Do you know how long, let's start with the defendant, do you know how long she stayed at the gym?
I can't recall how long she stayed.
If I may mark as People's 60, Exhibit 60, defendant, it's a photograph, appears to be a still shot. Defendant Sementilli and daughter Jessica exiting LA Fitness.
So marked.
Okay. This view of this, is this a still shot of security footage that you have at LA Fitness?
Yes.
There's some doors that we see. Where does that lead to?
That's the exit? So just-
At 12:43:21, and I'm not going to hold you to the exact second, but does that seem consistent with about the time that the defendant and her daughter left the gym?
I believe so.
That route where, do you see the defendant in that circled photograph?
Yes.
Can you see her daughter in it?
Yes, to the left?
Okay, to the left of her. There's two people, so the taller one is the defendant, the left of her is her daughter.
Correct.
Is there any swipe out that you do to leave the gym, or do you just walk out the door?
You just walk out.
Okay. And people 61, if I may mark it, another still shot of a video camera
Very well.
with the individual Robert Baker, and it states exiting LA Fitness. 12:43:07, do you recognize that individual who's in this green circle?
Yes.
Who's that?
Rob Baker?
And 12:43:07 being the timestamp, is that consistent when Baker left the gym?
Yes.
Did you see them actually leave together?
I didn't visibly see them leave together.
Around that time, though, you just noticed that they weren't there anymore?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Did you ever get any reports of any injuries that happened to either the defendant or Baker that day?
No.
What's the protocol if somebody were to get injured, either on the equipment or playing racquetball or something of the nature within the gym? What's the protocol?
Objection, no foundation.
Still ruled.
They would make a report.
Was there any report, to your knowledge, made of any injuries?
No.
Call for speculation. No foundation.
Sustained.
Did you, in your personal experience, ever look for any report of any injuries from the day of January 23rd, 2017?
No, I didn't.
So you have no idea?
No.
Okay. Now, on the date of, you were stayed at the gym how long that day?
I probably left at 5 or 6, I think, when I usually leave.
If you recall that day, did you have any more or any communication with Baker or the defendant after they left the gym?
No.
While they were in the gym, did you have any communication with either one of them?
No.
So at some point you found out that there had been the murder of the defendant's husband, is that correct?
Correct.
How did you find that out?
The next day, my client, Faye, called me. She texted me about it, and then I called her and spoke to her about it.
And is that the same Faye you identified earlier?
Correct.
What did she, well, she gave you some information and you talked about it. What did you do next, if anything?
After I talked to Faye,
Yes.
I left to Las Vegas.
Okay, so on the 24th, she let you know,
Yeah.
or you got information that that had happened. Did you text or call the defendant?
No.
Did you text or call Baker?
No.
On the 25th, then, where did you go?
I came back to work for LA Fitness.
You just testified you went to Las Vegas. What day did you go there?
It was an overnight trip, so I flew there and then came back.
Did you go to Vegas for anything related to work?
Yeah, my girlfriend's birthday.
Oh, that's not work.
Oh, no, not related to work.
Okay, you went, okay.
Yes, sir.
So you went to there for her birthday, and then you just went overnight, and you got back on, do you know what day you got back?
I think it was Wednesday.
Okay, Wednesday, the 25th?
Yes.
All right. Did you end up then hearing about a memorial or a wake or something like that in relation to recognizing or remembering the defendant's husband?
I didn't hear about it at all.
Did you end up going to the defendant's house the next day on the 26th?
Yes.
Why did you go there?
I saw Rob at the gym, and when I first met him, he told me he was in law enforcement. So when I saw Rob, I thought maybe he can know something since he was in law enforcement before. And I went up to him and he told me, I asked him, did you know anything? And he said no. He's listening to the news like everybody else. And then that's when he told me he was going up to him and another couple was going up to the house to pay condolences for Monica.
Do you know who the other couple was?
Sheila and I forgot her husband's name.
Sheila and her husband?
Yes.
Were they regulars at the gym as well?
Yes, they played in the racquetball league.
Did you ever see those two playing racquetball with the defendant?
No.
Did you see them playing racquetball with Rob Baker?
Yes, because they were in the league.
Okay. If they were in the league, then is that fair to say they were in the league with the defendant as well?
Yes.
Okay. So, did Rob Baker seemed, what was his demeanor when you're talking to him on the 26th?
I don't know if his demeanor was different, but I always see Rob in, like you saw, basketball shorts and a t-shirt, and he had a button-up shirt, denim, and a leather jacket on.
And at what point is he wearing this? Are you at the gym or are you somewhere else?
Just at the gym.
At the gym he was wearing it?
Yes.
What time is this?
Evening, maybe 5, 6.
Is this your normal work hours?
Yes.
Was it Rob Baker's normal work hours?
Yes.
Exactly cause for confusion.
Still roll.
Okay. So at that point, you had a conversation about something, and did he ask you something to go with him?
Yeah. He said we were going. He said we're going to pay condolences, and I told him I would follow him up there, and he told me no, I don't want to drive up there. I'll just ride with you.
At this point, you knew where she lived because you'd been to the house before.
Correct.
Okay, so did you go in a car then with Rob Baker?
Yes.
Did anybody else go in a car with you?
No.
The other couple, if I may mark as people 62,
Move it, please.
a photograph of a female individual with the title Sheila
Very well.
Salahian. Is that the Sheila that you were talking about earlier as being a member of the Racquetball League?
Yes.
And if I may mark as people 63, a photo of a male individual with the title Ricardo Cabrera.
Very good.
Yes.
You recognize him?
Yes.
And who is he?
Sheila's husband?
Did they go up to the house,
Yes.
the Sementilli house?
We met at Starbucks, and they followed us up there.
Okay. And walk me through then what happened on the way up and what happened when you got there.
We were waiting for them at Starbucks, and he still told me like he knew nothing. And then we got to the house, and family members were there. There was a lot of food on the table, and we sat at the fireplace where he just got killed.
Okay. During this time, did you notice anything unusual?
Well,
Vague, Your Honor.
they said it was a robbery, and I looked at the living room in the house, and I didn't notice anything was messed up, and by where he just got killed, I didn't notice any blood on the floor.
Now, are you, to the best of your knowledge, sitting in the very area where Fabio, had been killed?
Correct.
Did that make you uncomfortable?
Yes.
Was there any memorabilia or anything of that nature set up for Fabio?
Cigar on the table, cigar and shot of tequila or a drink of tequila, and then his picture on the chair he was sitting.
Did you ever see anybody sit in that chair?
No,
What did you do next?
I sat there.
And how long did you stay?
Maybe 20, 25 minutes maybe.
Were there a lot of people there?
There was a good amount.
And what about from the gym? Who was there from the gym?
Sheila and her husband, and I think that's all I can remember. That was from
Did
the gym.
Faye and or Elise, who you identified earlier, were they at this memorial?
No,
Did you communicate with them about going to it at all?
I don't believe so.
Did you see the defendant at the memorial?
Yes.
Well, what was she doing?
She was crying, sitting
Okay.
on the chair.
I'm sorry?
Crying, sitting on the chair.
Okay, did you see tears?
I can't say if I did or didn't.
You don't remember?
No.
Okay. And what was Baker doing there?
He was sitting down on a chair.
Did you see the defendant and Baker together?
No.
Now, at this moment, did you still suspect that the defendant and Baker had some form of relationship?
I believe I did.
Okay.
I mean, object, Your Honor, so I believe I did.
Overruled.
After about 20, 30 minutes, you said you left.
Yes.
Why did you leave so, for lack of better words, quickly?
I don't do well with death, so I didn't want to be there.
Did you know a lot of people there?
I met her sister, Monica Sementilli's sister, and the other couple, Sheila and her husband,
Okay.
and Rob.
After this memorial, then, did you see the defendant in the next few months back at the gym?
Yes.
When did you next see her come back to the gym?
I can't say the exact time, but she came in to cancel her membership, and then maybe a month or shortly after, she came in with Rob to renew her membership, and then they would come in and work out.
So, came in, canceled, about a month later came back with Rob Baker and renewed it, and then they would come in together and work out?
Yes.
That month after, when she canceled and you did not see the defendant, was Rob Baker coming into the gym?
Repeat that?
Did Rob Baker come into the gym that month after the murder?
No, not that I know of.
Do you know if he ever quit his job at LA Fitness following the murder?
I don't know if he quit, but I didn't know if he actually was employed or he just volunteered and ran the racquetball league.
Do you know somebody else that took over that racquetball league?
Somebody took over, but I can't recall.
Okay. Now, after the murder, then, the behavior, how often did you see the defendant and Rob Baker coming to the gym together?
Maybe a couple times.
And did they work out together then?
A couple times they were playing racquetball, and then one time I remember he was essentially training her, like giving her a workout.
Did you have a renewed suspicion that there was something going on between the two at this time, 1 month after the murder?
Objection, that's illegal.
That's overruled on that ground.
Can you repeat that?
Did you have a renewed suspicion that something was going on, some form of intimate relationship between the defendant and Baker now that it's like 1 month after the murder?
Yes.
It's overruled on that ground as well.
Speculation.
Now, so you can go through the entire evidence code. It's not going to work. You may answer.
Yes.
You did. And what was that based on?
Just seeing them together often.
And aside from just seeing them together, can you put into words, was there touching you saw, flirting you saw, anything that you could describe that gave you that impression?
Nothing that I visibly saw.
So what gave you that impression?
Just they were coming to the gym together
Okay.
when he normally wouldn't come to the gym.
So prior to that, they didn't come together for the most part.
Mhm.
Is that a yes?
Yes. Sorry.
Emily Marcus, People 64, a photograph of the back of it's two photographs, the back of a black Mustang.
Very well.
At some point, did the defendant show you this car?
Yes.
When did that happen?
After the murder?
Do you know how long after the murder?
I can't recall how long.
Where-
Shortly after, she said she had a new car and it was a brand new Mustang.
When she told you that, she had a new car, brand new Mustang, where did that conversation happen?
I believe over text.
Okay, and then how did you end up seeing the car?
She brought it to the gym.
Okay, so she brought it to the gym, and then how did you actually see it, lay eyes on it?
I think she told me to come outside and check out my new car.
Okay, did she seem excited about it?
Yes.
Now, and I just have a couple more. You know, earlier I was asking you some questions about, let me ask you this, sorry, one thing. I was asking you some questions about how or why you believed that she wanted more from you. This is prior to the murder when you had been training her at the gym and she asked you to go for drinks, right? Now, did you testify at a grand jury in August of 2017?
Yes.
You remember doing that?
Yes.
And you were asked the question if she was interested in having sexual relations with you.
Yes.
Do you remember that question?
Yes.
And you answered yes? Is that accurate?
Yes.
And what is that based on? Was it based on any statements or something else that she said to you?
I could just tell that she wanted more.
I'm going to object, Your Honor. Speculation.
That's form sustained.
Did you have an opinion based on something that the defendant was doing that she wanted, or saying to you that she wanted more than to just be friends with you?
Yes. And my other client told me she was interested in having more.
Okay.
Faye.
Faye told you that?
Yes.
Objection, that's your thing.
So ruled.
Okay. So you knew that, and then did you combine that with the fact that she had asked you out for drinks?
Yes.
Okay. Now, at some point in October of 2015, do you have a Facebook account?
Yes.
Okay. In October of 2015, was that Facebook account active?
Yes.
Was it a public account, meaning anybody could access it?
Yes.
And you're a personal trainer at this point, right?
Correct.
Did you post some photos of yourself on your own Facebook account?
Yes.
If I may mark as people 65, it appears to be a screenshot of an email showing an individual's torso.
Very well.
65. Is that a photo that you posted around the time frame of October 2015 on your Facebook account?
Yes.
If I mark as people 66, another photograph of an individual holding a phone up, photo of Matthew Nurse found. If I may mark that as people 66.
Yes.
And this photograph, is that you again in the photo? First of all, that's my first question.
Yes.
And did you post that onto your Facebook account?
Yes.
Along with the photo that I just showed you, 65, was that you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did you know that the defendant had downloaded those photographs of you?
No.
Objection, speculation, counsel.
Sustained.
Did the defendant ever talk to you about your photographs on Facebook?
She did because she was showing her. She told me she was showing her neighbor.
How did that conversation come up?
I believe she asked if this was me, and I said yes, and I asked her how she got that, and she said I found it, and I was showing my neighbor.
When she said to you, "Is this you?" What is she showing you?
These photos.
The photos, but did she show you an email or did she show you just the photos?
Just the photos.
Could you tell that it was a screenshot of your Facebook?
I think so.
Did she tell you why she was showing her neighbor?
I think she told me to see if it was actually me.
Okay. Did you ask her why do you have a picture on your phone of me and my abs?
No, I don't think I asked.
Did you think that was strange that she's showing you that photo and telling you that she's showing her neighbor?
I don't think it was strange, but that's, I think, when I came to realize that she might be interested more than training.
At this time frame then, was this a little bit earlier than around 2016, the one that's up on the screen right there?
Yes.
All right. Hold on one moment.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you please, could I leave this on?
Yeah.
I'm just going to leave this one picture on, Mr. Nurse. Can you tell us the reason why you posted that on your Facebook?
Felt good about myself?
Okay, and you look good there too, right? You can say so.
Yes.
Okay. You wanted other people to see that photograph,
Correct.
to see how well you looked. Correct?
Yes.
And you're at that time you were a trainer, is that correct?
Yes.
So I assume you were hoping that people might want you to train them so they could end up looking like that.
Yes.
Okay. So the fact that it was downloaded by Monica, that didn't bother you in any way, did it?
No, it didn't bother me.
And you were her trainer at the at LA Fitness, is that right?
Correct.
So if she was showing that photo to other people to show what a good trainer you were and how good you looked, that wouldn't bother you, would it?
No.
I assume you know that other customers of yours have posted your Facebook photo as well, correct?
Objection. As soon as facts and evidence.
It's overruled.
Can you repeat that question?
I assume you believe or know that other customers of yours have posted your Facebook photo as well. Is that right?
My clients at LA Fitness, no.
Your clients at LA Fitness are not allowed to post your photograph?
I thought you asked if I knew that other clients were posting my pictures.
Okay, then I'll rephrase that. Have any other clients of yours indicated that they saw that photograph?
No.
Anyone indicate they saw that photograph?
Are you asking at LA Fitness or?
Anywhere.
I mean, it's public, so people probably saw it.
Okay. You don't know who else saw it, right?
Correct.
It wasn't a secret or private.
No.
Again, it was designed to show off how well you looked as a trainer to anyone who could or would access your Facebook account, correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, the first time that you had met Monica Sementilli was early in 2016, is that right?
Yes.
So that was about a year before the killing of Fabio Sementilli, correct?
Yes.
And she was a customer, a client at LA Fitness, a member,
Yes.
and that's how you met her.
Correct.
And you became her trainer, is that right?
Yes.
And how often did you train her?
Once a week.
Okay, and how long did that last?
Contract was what, 6 months?
Okay, and did it last the full 6 months?
Yes.
So that would take us still into towards the end of 2016, is that right?
Yes.
Now, at the same time, you knew that she was also playing racquetball at LA Fitness?
Yes.
And you said there was a racquetball league there, is that right?
Yes.
Were you part of that league?
Occasionally.
And what does that mean occasionally? Do you have to join the league? You just play when you want, or what?
Since I worked there and I knew Rob, when I was able to play, he could fit me in. But when I had clients, I wouldn't play.
And when you say fit me in, does that mean have you joined one of the games?
He would put me on the schedule to play.
On the what?
On the schedule to play.
Okay. And educate me a little bit. Racquetball, 2-person, 1-person, play it at each time, each game? How many people participate? 2 against 2 or 1 against 1 or what?
You can do both.
Okay. And was this league one or the other or a combination?
I think it was solo, but they might have had a 2-on-2.
Okay. And when you say a league, was it a formal league where you keep standings and you play a certain number of games, someone would get a trophy or anything like that?
It was a semi-formal league, but I don't recall if anybody getting a trophy.
Did you have to pay extra to join the league?
I think there was a fee to play.
And about how many people would be members of the league at any one time, if you know?
30 plus.
And among these people were Monica Sementilli, correct?
Yes.
And Rob Baker was running the league, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Is he the only one who was running the league? Was there anyone else, or just him?
To my knowledge, just him.
And was it a morning league, afternoon, evening league, or all times?
Evening.
And how often would you see Monica playing in the league?
Maybe once a week.
During the day?
Evening.
Okay. And how often would Baker be there? Would he be there all day, or just morning or afternoon, or what?
Evening.
Evening. Now, at some point, you said that Monica in some way flirted with you or said something to you that caused you to believe that she might be interested in you in some way?
Yes.
Did you ever make a bet with anybody that you could get Monica to have lunch with you?
Not lunch.
Not what?
Not lunch.
What?
I think we made a bet, and then she would have to bring lunch to the gym.
Okay, and who was the bet with?
Monica.
So you made a bet with Monica that, and if she lost, she would bring you lunch, correct?
Yes.
And that was spaghetti and meatballs, you remember?
Yes.
Was it good?
I didn't eat any.
What was the bet? What did you have to do to win the bet and get the spaghetti and meatballs?
We played racquetball.
I see. And where did you have that lunch?
She brought it to the gym.
Okay. Was that the only time you had lunch with her?
No, we had lunch outside of the gym.
You had lunch with her one other time, correct?
Yeah.
And nothing came of that other than the lunch, is that right?
Yeah.
And there was no romantic or sexual activity taking place between you and her at the time, correct?
No, the lunch, she explained to me the lunch was to talk about training outside the gym.
And did she talk with you about training outside the gym?
Yes.
Again, was this was before the murder of Fabio Sementilli, correct? Is that right?
Yes.
And one of the things she asked you about is whether or not you would train her at home as opposed to at the gym. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you agreed.
Yes.
And that lasted again. Well, first, about how many times did you train her at her house?
I think it was 5 sessions.
And were they weekly, or could you remember how often?
Maybe once a week, probably.
All right, once a week.
Maybe twice.
I'm sorry.
Maybe once or twice a week.
For 5 weeks or 5 sessions?
Yeah.
If you remember.
I say yes.
Yes to what?
It was, I don't think it was 5 weeks, but it was 5 sessions.
Okay,
So
so
whenever I had time and she contacted me, I would train her.
Okay. Were you still working at the gym, though, at the same time?
Yes.
And was she still at the gym as well?
Yes.
Playing racquetball?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. And you saw her with Mr. Baker, is that correct?
Yes.
Because he was running the league, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now, when you had training sessions at her house, did you bring a massage board or some kind of, I guess I got the wrong thing here. There was no massage going on, it was just training. Is that right?
I brought some kettlebells and maybe resistant bands.
Okay, so you did bring some kind of equipment.
Yes.
And you used that with her on the training sessions.
Yes.
And you said that her daughters were home at times during those sessions, is
Yes.
that correct?
Yeah.
Was somebody there for every one of the sessions, if you recall?
I can't recall.
Okay. And do you remember which daughter or which daughters were there during any of these sessions?
Jessica was there.
Okay. So she knew that this was going on, you were having a training session with her mother, is that correct?
Yes.
And was this during the week or on a weekend?
During the week.
During the week?
Yes.
And what time about? Was it regular time? Every time?
Between 12 and 4.
And how long would each session last?
40 minutes.
Okay. And was there any particular way that you knew if it was going to be 12 or 4? Was that scheduled in advance or weekly or what?
It was scheduled maybe a couple days prior.
Okay. And did you ever meet Mr. Sementilli, Fabio?
Yes.
And how did you meet him?
I met him at the gym when I was training Monica.
And did you meet him when you met him at the gym, did she introduce you to him?
Yes.
And could you tell whether he was there to just meet the people at the gym or to work out or what?
I assume he was there to work out.
She wanted him to work out, if you recall?
I I don't
Did
know.
you see him working out at the gym?
I didn't visibly see him, though.
Okay. Did she ask you if you would train him?
No.
Okay. When did that occur, if I can ask you, if you recall? And I'm sorry, we're always relating it to the day of the time of the murder. Can you recall how long before then that he came to the gym?
I can't recall, but
Was it a month, 2 months, 6 months, something like that?
I can't recall.
Okay. And it was just 2 times that you saw him?
Yes.
And where was Mr. Baker at those times? Do you recall?
No clue.
Now, after the one lunch that you had, there was no other times that you or she went out, were there?
Is that a question?
Yes.
Can you repeat that?
Other than that one time at lunch, by the way, do you remember where that lunch was?
Some Italian restaurant in close to Woodland Hills.
Okay. And that was a different time than the spaghetti and meatballs? Or the same time?
The spaghetti and meatballs were brought to the gym.
Okay. Was this before or after the spaghetti and meatballs?
This was after.
Okay. And how did that occur? Did you ask if she wanted to have lunch? Did she ask if you wanted to have lunch?
Like I stated, she reached out and said she wanted to have lunch to talk about training outside of the gym.
Okay. And during that lunch, you did talk about training outside of the gym, which ended up being these training sessions at her house. Is that correct?
Yes.
And nothing sexual or romantic happened at that time, correct?
No.
And nothing ever happened between you and her. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, at some point, you became aware that she was unhappy in some ways with her marriage. Is that right?
Yes.
And then didn't she tell you that he was constantly away from home,
She told me he was working a lot. He works a lot.
works a lot? And because he worked a lot and wasn't at home a lot, she was concerned that he might be having an affair. Is that right?
I don't know if she thought that.
Pardon?
I don't know if she thought that.
She didn't say that to you?
No.
No. Okay. So at some point, when she was talking about him always working and be away from home, you asked her, why don't you just get a divorce? Is that right?
Yes.
And she said, why throw away 20 years? Is that right?
Yes.
I could have 1 minute more.
Thank you, Mr. Nurse, you're excused.
Thank you.